Oh, hi, didn't see you there. This is the life. Hawaii, am I right? Did you know that Hawaii is a volcanic archipelago? It's a chain of islands formed through underwater volcanoes. Today we're going to be exploring how Hawaii was formed and how it's changed because of the rock cycle. Oh, something I forgot to mention. Hawaii has the tallest mountain in the world. It's actually taller than Mount Everest if you count it from its base underwater. Everest goes to the highest elevation in terms of above sea level, but Mauna Kea is the tallest mountain from base to top. This is Mauna Loa. This is not Mauna Kea. Um, so Hawaii has beautiful mountains. It has lava tubes. It has volcanoes with some lava rivers like this. We'll learn about volcanoes later. It has black sand formed from igneous rock, black igneous rock. It has green sand formed from green igneous rock. It has cooled magma that you can actually step on if you're careful and poke with a stick. So I hope you'll have fun learning about Hawaii today. Hi, 7th graders. So today I'm going to be walking you through lesson 2.6, investigating Hawaiian rocks. Now, the interesting thing about this lesson is that it's divided into 3 groups. So what I'm going to do is create some timestamps, and I'm going to start with the purple group. So if you're in the purple group, you can click below on the purple group. Then I'm going to do the green group, and finally the blue group. So you can just skip to your group. And your group was determined by how well you did last Thursday on the critical juncture assessment. So let's start with the purple group. All the groups are going to start with a reading, but the purple group is going to start with a reading about the rocks on the Hawaiian Islands, just reviewing how igneous rock and sedimentary rock form. So this girl is poking some cooling lava. And down here we see that these cliffs in Hawaii are made of sedimentary rock. So the question is, how did this form? And how did this form? This igneous rock and this sedimentary rock. There's a question down here. 2 questions, actually. So how do sedimentary rocks form? Let's look for the keyword sedimentary. So I see it here, and I see it here. Actually, this says sedimentary rock form, so this is a good place to look. And how do igneous rocks form? Let's look for igneous rock form. Igneous rock forms when? So try to paraphrase, please. Moving on to part 2, purple group. Okay. We're going to open the sim in process mode, try to form igneous rock, analyze the igneous rock, and then answer this question here. Which process forms igneous rock in the sim, and which process forms sedimentary rock? So let's try that. Let's relaunch this. Okay, make sure you're in process mode. Which process forms igneous rock? Let's see. I should be forming 2 different igneous rocks here, one under the surface and one above the surface. I can also melt some magma there and and do that there. And when I click Analyze Rock, these should be igneous. Igneous. So let's see, we have rhyolite, granite, gabbro, basalt. So I have 4 different types of igneous rocks there. Which processes in the sim form sedimentary rock? So let's reset this. Let's do some weathering. We know that's going to form sedimentary rock. And why is it not clicking? There we go. Oh, sedimentary rock. So this will form sediment. And then we'll get sedimentary rock from this later, once it presses together there. So you're going to analyze that as well. Okay. Use what you learned from the article in the sim activity to label these diagrams. So clearly this is liquid rock, this red. So which one is it? That's right, it's magma. And when magma cools, what does it become? What does it become? Does it become sedimentary or igneous? That's right, it becomes igneous. And what's this process to go from magma to igneous? That's right, it's cooling. Let's do this one here. So right here, these are rocks, but they're not pressed together yet. So this is sediment. It presses together to become sedimentary rock. And what's the process that does this? That's right, it's compacting and cementing. Make sure to hand that in. Okay, I'm going to go to the next group. Okay, so green group, you have a different reading. It's about Hawaiian volcanoes and beaches. They have this interesting black sand, which is formed from igneous rocks being weathered. Actually, you guys have a pretty short article. So the first question, how does the magma in underwater volcanoes in Hawaii form? How does the magma form? Let's see. Let's look for the keyword of magma. Oh, melt into magma. So whatever's melting into magma turns into magma. That's good. How does volcanic rock in Hawaii turn to sediment? Well, it turns into sediment the same way that other rocks turn into sediment, but let's look for that. Sand forms when rock is broken down into sediment by wind and moving water in a process called weathering. And then, of course, you have erosion. So these black sand beaches are formed when black igneous rock is weathered and eroded. Let's go to part 2, green group. Okay, in the sim, tried to form an underwater volcano. Let's try that. Process mode. Underwater volcano. I'm going to melt some magma under the water. And then I'm going to make a below surface. Well, I made some igneous rock. That didn't really help. Let's try this one. That looks like an underwater volcano, I think. But maybe you guys can find another way. How did you form sediment from a volcano? Well, I can always make a volcano up here. Let's bring a volcano to the surface here. And then I'm going to weather this volcano to get some sand from it. I think that was an underwater volcano. I'm not 100% sure. And it looks like I just like buried it. Part 2. Okay. Explain what transformation process is happening in the above diagram. Use the following terms to help you with your explanation. So we have clouds and wind and sun breaking little pieces off of this mountain or volcano, maybe, whatever it is. So clearly this is weathering happening because of the rain and the wind, which is originally coming from the sun. This next diagram, what transformation process is happening in the above diagram? So this is Earth's core, which is very hot, spinning liquid iron core, actually. And this can melt rock. It's so hot. So it can melt rock and magma can form because the energy from inside Earth is able to melt it. Hopefully that helps. And I'm going to go to the last group. Okay, blue group. Congratulations, you guys did the best, I think, on the critical juncture assessment. So your reading is about Hawaii's colorful sand. So not all sand is white and yellow. Hawaii has black sand made of pyroxene and plagioclase. It has green sand. It has red sand. So why might the sand on the beaches be different colors even though the sand all formed from igneous rock? Well, isn't there more than one kind of igneous rock? So igneous rocks can be black, red, and green, or green. So you probably want to add a bit of detail to that. Let's go to part 2. Was that it for part 1? Yep. Yes. Okay. In the sim, make as many different kinds of igneous rocks as you can. So you guys are going to have to cool magma in as many ways and places that you can. So I'm going to create 2 magma reserves. And I want to melt this under Earth. I want to melt this above Earth. I want to melt this underwater or maybe here and here. So let's do that. Let's do surface for both. And let's do under the surface for both. The reason that this can form different types of igneous is because it cools at different rates. So if it cools in the air, it's going to cool pretty slowly. If it cools underground, it's going to cool pretty slowly usually. If it cools in the water, it's going to cool pretty quickly. But once you analyze the rocks, you might see different types of igneous from what we just did. Let's see. Rhyolite, granite, gabbro, basalt. So I made 4 already. How did you form the different types of igneous rocks? I think I just answered that. Part 2. Okay. Explain the diagram above, then write your own key concept. This is similar. So we have magma cooling underwater. We have magma cooling in the air. Write your own key concept to summarize what is shown. That's kind of tricky. Just kind of explain what you think is happening in the diagram. The rocks shown in the above diagram form from magma. Examine the rocks and write your own key concept to summarize the diagram. So these rocks have the same minerals, but the minerals are in different ratios. So they're probably not the same rock because they have different ratios of minerals. So how did these different rocks form? This is cool, even though it says it's optional, but you guys should do it because you're in the blue group. You're in the elite group. So this is the Grand Canyon. This is not in Hawaii. This is Waimea Canyon. It's made of igneous rock, unlike the Grand Canyon, which is actually layers of sedimentary rock. But I think these are layers of igneous rock from what we call a shield volcano that just keeps cooling its igneous layered on top of each other like layers of a cake. And then I think there was some water that cut through this. So what these two things have in common is water eroded both of these canyons, although this canyon is igneous and this canyon is sedimentary. So I hope you guys thought that Hawaii was cool. For all the groups,